evening, everyone. I just wanted to go through a quick explanation of AxelBox lineup. Things have changed pretty dramatically over the past couple months. It's no longer just the standard AxelBox. We've got the Ultra 4. We've got two different versions of the mini modules. And I think there's just a lot of, not a confusion, but just misunderstanding on what components are compatible with what, and kind of what the capabilities of each item are. So we're going to go into each one a little bit more in detail, and we'll go over what you can do with the product that you currently have or the one that you're thinking about getting. So let's get into it. Okay, so behind me, I have a couple examples of the products available. So we're just going to go into each one, kind of describe what it does and what it's compatible with. And we'll go into the pricing of each unit and how it is interlinked with the adjacent components that it can be paired with. So for those that have been around the AxelBox group long enough, you recognize this device. This is the standard AxelBox. This is the one that I started with. Probably the more successful unit because it is the cheapest model and it requires the least amount of track wiring to get set up. So as you can see, this box is incomplete. It's just missing the LEDs. But what you see here is what you get with the basic model. There's the two buttons for disabling and enabling the lanes, and then there's the digital to analog mode and the analog off-on switch. On the bottom side, when you receive the product, you'll receive a couple of screws with some nuts on it so you can fasten it to a track piece, and there will be 6 wires coming out the bottom. The red-black is for power connection to your CU, the red-blue is to lane 1, and the yellow-green is to lane 2. Now this product is available as you see it. This is what I call just the standard AxelBox, but there is another model that looks like this. Now, this unit obviously is incomplete, but it has a little side port on the right-hand side of the box. This allows for the mini modules, such as this guy. This is I call this the B spec mini because it's the smallest one. And what you can do is you can pair this mini module with that AxelBox, and I call this the AxelBox Plus because it has a plus port on it. And what you can do is you basically put a port on both sides of these, and then you run a cable between them. And now this one's got 2 holes, so it can actually go to another device, and it can have 2 holes go to another device, and then the last device will have 1 hole in it. And what this does is it allows any one of these stations to kill track power. You can kill the power to all cars, all 6 cars on a digital track, and it'll kill power to the 2 analog cars on a 2-lane track. Now, similar to the B spec mini module, this is the A spec mini module, and it includes the same e-stop, but it also includes a button. It allows you to call the pace car out, and another button to start and stop a race session. This particular box doesn't have any ports on the side. It has a port on the back side. This just allows me to hide the wiring on my personal track. As you can see, all 6 of the stations are lacking ports. It's just for visual appeal. This box has the ability to have side mount, left, and right, bottom entry, or if you're into it, it can go on the back entry. I've got 20 to 30 iterations of this box, it seems like. A lot of times it's just made custom order. Whatever it is you're looking for, we can accommodate at the AxelBox. Same goes with this guy. I've had individuals that want ports just on the right, just on the left, or both. I had another individual that wanted them on the back side, so I had a left, a right port, and they actually wanted the hole where the wiring comes out to come out the back side as well, so that they could mount it like this and you saw absolutely no cabling, no wiring, just the lid, the push buttons, and the switches. It was a pretty clean look. So again, options are endless. You know, whatever ideas you have, I can pretty much cater to what it is you're looking for. It only takes a few minutes for me to adjust the build files. It's a pretty expansive design. Now, before I move off topic of these boxes, these two devices can be used with your digital CU without the need of this box. If you just want these little stop boxes, but you don't want to go down the road of buying a digital to analog converter, these boxes can be wired to your CU without the need of an AxelBox. So if you're in the market for stop boxes for your digital only track, you want to have the ability for drivers to suspend a race session without actually hitting the start stop button on the CU, which ultimately resets your lap counter, which is a pain if you're running a race and you constantly have to reset your races. That's probably one of the downfalls of the start stop button on the CU. All this does is it just kills track power. The timer of your race will still count down, or if you're not using race software, the lap counter will just stay the same, and the running order of the drivers will also stay the same. So this is another great option for the folks that want to just stop a session without losing timing or lap counts. This device as well, it does the same thing. You just press and turn the e-stop, and if you do want the pace car remote function or the start stop to be able to control that CU from a distance, start and stop a race, this box also can be wired to a CU without the need of an AxelBox. Now the next item is the Ultra 4, and the Ultra 4 is what I've switched to. I had the standard AxelBox on my track for quite a long time. The reason why I pivoted to it is one of the guys that I race with in Calgary has a wood track. I'll post a little video of that right here. But on his wood track, he runs true analog with the 3 post and the 3 alligator clips. And for me, as a primarily digital driver, going from a thumb drive application to a trigger drive was not really a learning curve, but it got to the point where I actually preferred the feel of the trigger controllers. And I know they make trigger drive controllers for digital Carrera, and it does work in analog mode, I might add. If anyone out there has the trigger style controllers that are digital enabled, they will work with this box. But I just found that the digital throttle curve wasn't the same. I didn't find it to be similar to that resistive type controller. So this box here, the Ultra 4, can you get the light on that better? There we go. The Ultra 4 allows you to run digital and analog, 2-lane or 4-lane. You can expand your track to 4-lane with this box, and all you need to do is just add a couple more wires to the backside. It allows you to run 4-lane, 6 cars in digital mode, all normal functions. There's no deviation from the standard operation of digital mode. Flick of one switch, you're in analog mode, 2 or 4-lane, and you're using resistive type controllers for all 4 drivers in analog mode only. When you're in digital mode, you still use your digital enabled controllers, wired, wireless, Carrera, Frankenslot, whatever, doesn't matter what brand it is. Those will still work in digital mode, whether you're 2-lane or 4-lane. But when you're in analog mode, you are forced to use these 3-wire whether they're alligator or XLR, doesn't matter. That's the purpose of this box. And as you can tell, the backside, it's very simple. It comes with a power supply for that little port that's close to my head here. And then there's 2 sets of 10 terminal blocks that you'll wire your track rails to, and then all your driver stations. With this box, you need to have an external power supply for the analog mode. The digital power supply does come into the unit in DC, but it's not really a sufficient amount of VA or watts, if you want to call it that, to support the analog mode. So I would recommend an external power supply that's 0 to 20 volts, 0 to 30 volts, and I would say no less than 10 amps. Keep in mind that this box, you only need 1 power supply. I know some folks like to have separate power supplies for each lane. This box doesn't support separate power supplies. It's just a singular power supply source only. There are ways to fix that, but it really, all it does is it just adds more terminal blocks, and I'm trying to keep this thing as small and as cheap as I possibly can. So that's that. Now, getting into, it's a super messy garage here, getting into what support products you can have for this. Again, both the B-spec mini module and the A-spec mini module are compatible with this box. Same function, hit that E-stop to kill track power. All cars, 4-lane, digital, analog, are going to come to a dead stop instantaneously until someone resets that switch. And same thing with the B-spec, or sorry, the A-spec. You got the E-stop function for killing track power, and then when you're in digital mode, the pace car and the start stop button will work for all drivers. I've got 6 of them here. I've got yellow, green, blue, red, orange, and gray at the very end there. So far, I haven't had a chance to get 6 people. It's been kind of a new setup, and I've been so busy with assembly, and I've got tons of other activities on the go. I haven't really had a chance to set up 6 people and put this to the test, but I've function tested every one of them and they work super dandy. So again, the boxes are all compatible with one another. You can arrange them however you want. If you want to have AxelBox with 6 driver stands to the left, or 6 to the right, or 3 and 3, the options are endless. Whatever you can dream up, we can make it work here. So that's why I'm kind of proud of this product, and I know a lot of people that have bought it are really happy, and I really hope that that this product line continues to grow so that I can share some of these wonderful things that I've made with everybody out in the world. Anyways, I wanted to keep this video as short as possible, so what I'm going to do is just show a quick demonstration of this setup. It'll be the same for your standard AxelBox Plus. I wanted to show you quickly the full operation of the box with the start stop, the pace car, and the e-stop. So I'll get that video going here. Okay, so we've got 3 cars on track. I've got a pace car over there. I have a Carrera analog Porsche, and I have a Carrera digital Porsche. So right now the CU is powered on, but my AxelBox Ultra 4, where is it? Right here. The switch is red. Right now red means digital mode. So it's in digital mode. You can see the digital CU is powered on, and that pace car is actually powered on. If I toggle this to analog mode, you'll see that the car goes dead, along with all of the peripherals, if you want to call them that. The stuff that's powered up digitally goes dead when you put it in analog mode. Now you'll find that digital cars don't really care if it's in analog mode, but what you will find if I put this back into digital, is when you take a analog car and put it on a digital track, that the car runs flat out in reverse. That's kind of the whole premise as to why this digital analog converter box was required, is analog cars aren't compatible with the digital system. So what we're going to do here first is we're going to showcase the pace car function. So let's let me get a controller. I don't have a controller handy. 1 second. Alrighty, I'm back. I'm going to have a digital wireless controller. So before I do any work here, I always like to just show the steps involved. Code the controller, 3 lights, code the pace car. Now, just pull this wire out of its way so I don't get hung up. Pace car. This one's got a magnet so I can kind of give it some steam. So I've already programmed the speed. As you can see, the top lights are no longer flashing. It's going to find its way home. And of course, it stops on a dead spot. That's not going to help us out. Right, so we all know about this button here. Pull that pace car out. I'm going to send it home. Alright, still powered up, that's good. Alright, so I've got this yellow box. It's the furthest one away from that CU. So say I'm driving here and I crash right here, because that's where I can't see the most. I'm going to push this pace car button. I can call that pace car out from where I'm standing. I don't even have to tell the guy over here, hey, I've crashed. So then hopefully someone over there is smart enough to grab the pliers, the reaching arm, and put my car back into place. Once my car's back on track, I'm going to play catch up to the pace car, and I'm going to call it back into the track. And race resumes. And that goes for any one station. This is the one closest to. Top lights are flashing. I will send it home. Here it goes. It's on its way back to the pit lane. There you have it, folks. That is the pace car. Now, for the start stop, I know a lot of people may not use the start stop button on the CU to begin the races. A lot of people use Smart Race. That kind of takes control over everything. But say you're just playing with your kids and you don't really want to get the whole iPad thing set up and bust out the TV remote. You just want to start and stop a race and get things on the go. So depending where you're at, if you're here or at the yellow station, just push the start stop button. Tower lights, you can see the lap counters reset. Push it again. Obviously the pace car is not going to take off here, but we can program another car. Let's get this guy on track. Pull this off so we don't code it by accident. Code. Right. So now we are driving our digital car on track. And then say something catastrophic happens and you need to restart the race. Well, we'll just bring the car back. Start it all over again. So this box is just an extension of the CU ultimately, right? Pace car still works. Send it home. There you go. So again, this box is called the A-Spec mini module, and it is compatible with both the Ultra 4 and the standard AxelBox. Okay, now we're ready to function analog mode. So we're gonna go back to our switch here. If I can expose it here, we got red light is digital. I like to say green means go.
Green means go! Green means go! Green does still mean go, right?
Analog cars are sensitive to the track voltage, so I've made it so that green is just kind of an indicator that it's safe to run analog. Now, as I had said before, with the Ultra 4, we're running these 3-wire resistive type controllers. So this controller here, it's not going to do anything. Neither is the CUs. Power that down, put these things back on the charger. Now we are running resistor type controllers. I've got these 2 Professor motor. These are probably the cheapest ones they sell. And I have 2 controllers here. I've got red and blue, and I've marked the lanes red and blue. So when someone grabs a controller, it's pretty easy for them to identify what lane they're driving in. So, got a Scalextric analog car. Oh, for a second there, I was wondering what the heck's going on. I just realized my DC power supply isn't turned on, so I've got it kind of hidden here. I'm running this car at 8 volts right now. Let's increase it to about 10. There you go, 10 volts. And here's our resistor type controller. Again, lane changers are disabled, lap counters are disabled. Analog mode changes the polarity of the track, so all of the peripherals that are attached to the track, this bridge, lap counters, photo eye, and the mechanical relays that toggle the cars over don't operate. And just to prove that the other lane works, here's my blue controller, blue lane. Now, one thing I might add, and I'm just going to tone down the voltage here to show it a bit. So kick this down to about 7 volts. What that will allow me to do is to put this rubber band on, trick the throttle closed. Just make sure it's not too crazy. Oh, that was too fast. So, it's like a tank. It'll be much slower. Nope, say that. Say that. It's not. 5 volts. There we go. Trying to prove a point here, and the cars aren't helping me. There we go. Nice and slow. Easy to control. Hopefully this guy doesn't stop. There we go. Alright, this car is still going. Now, just like in digital mode, these stop-start buttons, work in analog mode. So I can stop this car from any one of these stations. Oh, I keep getting trapped on this wire. It's like my first time filming a video. Where's my hand here? Here we go. You stop. Of course it stops in a dead spot. Green button. So, these boxes, I've got 6 of them, primarily for digital mode, but I've got the 2 controllers here, red and blue, and they've put the red e-stop and the blue e-stop just for the sake of having the drivers hit their appropriately colored button. Now, I hope that this brief little demonstration answers a lot of people's questions. Again, if you're running this box, now this is a standard axle box. It doesn't have the port. Again, this box and these boxes can still work together. If someone out there has bought this 2 years ago, you can still have this box. It just doesn't plug into the side like it would with this box. There's a little bit of extra elbow grease work on your side that has to be done. It's just a little bit of soldering, nothing that you haven't done already. The whole purpose of this lineup of products was to enhance the full extent of the digital racing experience. There's been some times where I thought, it'd be nice just to have the ability to stop the track without killing the race session and having to reset the lap counter, having to reset the whole race just because someone crashed and it turned into a giant 6-car pileup in turn 3 is not really the most ideal racing experience. So I think these boxes here are ultimately something that could benefit anyone, whether or not you need the digital analog converter. So just going over the pricing of these units, for those that haven't seen the pricing list on the AxelBox group page, the standard AxelBox, as you see here, is $245 US plus shipping. And if you want the AxelBox Plus with the side port, this is $265. There's a bit of extra wiring and the parts involved to put in the expansion port. It's a little bit more expensive, but ultimately it saves you a bit of hassle with having to wire all of the additional mini module wires from the module to the CU. I do the work inside the box. The B-spec mini module is $35 US plus the cost of the cabling, which is $4 a foot. So if you want this box and another box and they're 10 feet apart, that is a $40 cable. The cables are all run with 14 gauge wire. It's way overbuilt for what is required, but a lot of folks were concerned that there would be a lot of resistance. We're talking micro-ohms. Micro-ohms are absolutely negligible when it comes to resistance values. So the 14 gauge wire is kind of a minimum standard that I've made for the wiring between these boxes. This one's $35. This one with the 2 extra buttons is $40 US. And again, the cabling between the 2 boxes, doesn't matter the distance, it's still $4 a foot. And then we get down to the Ultra 4. The Ultra 4, again, it's a 2 or 4 lane digital to true analog converter box. This unit is $375 US plus shipping. That's it for this video. I wanted to keep it as short and sweet as possible, but still be able to illustrate the full purpose and functionality of these AxelBox products. I hope that those individuals that are thinking of purchasing one reach out to me so we can just chit chat about slot cars. Over the past couple of years, there's been lots of people that I end up just chatting with over Facebook Messenger, and it's been great. You kind of get to know, what kind of cars they're into, and you get to understand their track layout a bit more. And it's nice to see other people's attention to detail when it comes to their scenery. It's just a nice community. It's really it's full of people that are really genuine, and it's nice to just connect with people that are interested in what you're interested in. All right, that's it for today, folks. Thanks again for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe. I appreciate those that have taken the time to watch this whole video. Until next time, the next video I'm hoping will be a Tinkercad tutorial on how to build a 3D model for some sort of slot car related product. I'll think of a few good ideas for something to build to show you guys how to use that program.